Oh, I see at the bottom. Where it says mute.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Keep the Mic On. I am Simply Sherri. I am one of your hosts. And if you have been with us throughout the pandemic as we have grown and changed platforms and to find things to make it better and easier for us to bring this experience that we've been doing to you, we have switched platforms. So we are now coming through StreamYard. And so for the first time, we are live out here on YouTube. Hey, YouTube. We usually take this time to chit chat and tell you about our platforms. I normally go first, but since I'm hosting tonight, I have decided that I'm going to take a moment and kick it to the one, the only. They don't call her the girl genius for nothing.
Took me a second to unmute myself. Hey y'all, I'm Girl Genius. Nice to be here. Happy to be back on the air and back on StreamYard. We took a week off to sort of get this platform together to make sure we're bringing you guys a good show. My week is called Let's Talk About the Book, where I get books and authors and basically pick their brains about their process and all the other good fun stuff that goes with it. I am the first week of every month, and I have a phenomenal guest lined up for you for next go round, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. I'm just happy we're here, and as I'm looking, everything seems to be running properly. We're live on YouTube. Hi, YouTube people. And we're live on Facebook. So hi, Facebook people. I'm going to tell you now, the way this works, if you've never done this before, if you are on, if you're watching us on Facebook or if you're watching us on YouTube, we can see your comments in real time. So feel free as we go through the show to drop your questions, your comments for our guests, any of us, anything like that. We do see this in real time. It does pop up. It works just like everything else. The only difference is we don't have to worry about people trying to get into the Zoom room. So we're going to see how this goes. And right now I am going to, normally she's the best hype woman ever. And so I'm going to give her the hypest introduction I can manage this evening. Everybody, what just happened? Everybody give it up for Nikki J.
Thank you very much. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Facebook. So I'm going to say right now, if you're following us on Facebook, go ahead and share alike so people don't miss this awesome interview tonight. I'm very, very excited about our special guest. My name is Kaniki Jakarta. You can call me Kaniki Jakarta because that's what my mama named me. I am happily serving a 3-year term as the first Black Poet Laureate of Alabama. My night under this beautiful umbrella, keep the mic on, is called Poets and Platforms, where I interview poets who have platforms for the arts. We have been going strong now for over a year in this pandemic of positivity. And we're happy to be on a new platform tonight where you can see us streaming live. So you can go ahead and tell people that we are on YouTube as well and subscribe and do those things. I see we have some people who are normally with us. I see we have some people in here. So I'm going to go ahead and shout out some people. So I'm going to shout out Maureen. Hey, Maureen. And shout out Vanilla. Hey, Vanilla. And then I have Vanilla on here. And Analysis. Hey, Analysis. So yeah, you too can get a shout out if you start following us weekly. So I am going to kick it to the one, the only, Charity Joyce Blackwell.
Well, yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Kaniki. Hey, everybody. Hey, YouTube. Hey, Facebook. Hey, world. We out here on stream motherfucking yard because you know what? Zoom couldn't handle us. Zoom could not handle us. So now it's time for us to just, as we upgrade in life, we just got to upgrade our platform as well. So we're really excited to be here with y'all. Everybody that's out there in YouTube, out there in Facebook, welcome to our new and improved edition of how we are going to present our events moving forward. So yes, my name is Charity Blackwood. I'm one fourth of the collective of Keep the Mic On. My night is called Keep the Mic On, our therapy edition. So what I do is interview artists who leverage their art form as a way to provide healing, whether that's for themselves and or their audience or people that they're serving in that moment. Have some amazing people come through, have been providing some healing on the spot, some clarity on the spot. It's just been a wonderful, beautiful thing to see grow, and I'm just really, really honored to continue this journey with these three other beautiful, amazing women. And yeah, I'm just not going to keep up too much time. But if you're an artist out there who uses your art as a way for healing, hit me up. If you know somebody that uses their art as a way for healing, hit me up. We're always looking for more artists that fall into that bucket. And I would love to bring them onto my show because I've had just nothing but amazing folks come through and just looking for new ones as well. So yeah, I'm really, really excited about tonight's feature. They are like top freaking notch. If you know anything about this feature, you know wherever they're gonna go, whether that's virtually or in person, they're gonna tear it up. And I saw them in person 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago at Busboys and Post Shirlington location. When I say people gathered around that were not even supposed to be at that event, just lined up in the streets because it was an outdoor event, just waiting to hear the person speak and stayed around. It was such a beautiful and powerful thing. And they even sold all their books. Like it was just a phenomenal thing. And for any artist to know that, and I mean, I just sell their books type thing. Like I brought my 20 books and I sold those. Like I brought my 20 books. Now I got to go back to the trunk and get 20 more books. Now I got to go back to the trunk and get 20 more books. Like sell out their whole stock because they were just that fucking lit. So I'm, really excited for today, and I'm just shut the fuck up because I think the star of the show just came on into the building. So I'm not going to pass it off for your hostess with the mostest tonight, the one and only, the beautiful, my sis, Shameen. Give it up, y'all, for Simply Sherri.
Thank you, Charity. Thank you, Charity. As Charity mentioned, tonight is my night to host. My night is called From Behind the Microphone, and it's where we take time to get to know the person behind the poems, because poets are people too, and I think people forget that sometimes. Tonight, I have the pleasure and the honor of bringing you one of the best poets I know. Actually, I can say it's been definitively calculated and proven on more than one occasion that this is probably is the best poet in the world. This is Lady Brion. She is currently the co-woman of the world poet, #1 poet in the world. She is a member of the Baltimore Adult Slamageddon Poetry Slam team, which is also currently #1 in the world. When we talk about the Baltimore Slam team, there are people that are afraid to slam against them because they are so good. Brion, for the past several years, has been the only woman on that team. So, and you're muted, so I'm gonna make sure you know that. So I met Brion about 6-7 years ago now in a small church in Baltimore, and just to see where everything is now, I am really excited. So everyone, please take a moment and drop some love, drop some hearts for Lady Brion.
Peace, peace, peace. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You've been on the list for a while, and I am one of those hosts because my platform can encompass a little bit of everybody, that I decided, like, well, you know what? There's so much you're doing in the city of Baltimore platform-wise. I'm like, you know what? Maybe we should wait for Poets and Platforms. I know you have your book, which I have right here. I was one of those people that sold out the book with my head unbowed.
Yes,
So I wanted to make sure, so I was being polite and letting my team. And then I was like, nope, she's just one woman in the world. So here we come. So I am going to step aside. You can do a poem or two, and then we will come back and get into the interview. Sound cool?
Cool. So I just want to make sure, is my audio okay? Like, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
All right. And here you go. Whoops, wait a minute.
All right, here I am. Okay, cool. So let's do this quick poem, and yeah. So I think the poem that is in my spirit right now is a Yeah, it's a poem that I wrote for my mother called Sugarcane Smile. I actually just performed this poem just like an hour ago at a different event that was about bailing Black mamas out of jail around the Mother's Day holiday to bring them home to their family. And I just think it's an amazing initiative and effort. And so I shared my mother's poem at that event. So shout out to all the mamas, and I will do this poem. My mama got a sugarcane smile. Southern sweetened iced tea, hint of lemon in her kiss. My mama loved me like home cooked meals. Slow roasted conversations, leftovers in the corners of my mind like I remember. She gave me cheese curls like teething rings to place between my gums and satisfy my crying. She Twizzler twisted my thick hair with globs of blue magic, make me Sunday fresh. My skin hot fudge, she caramel at best. My mama got skin like Raisin Bran, where moles decorate the flakes of her melanin. My mama, cornbread and cola, candied yam and cabbage, banana pudding and cobbler. Food so good on the taste buds, it make her feet swell. She wobbles sometimes like the pendulums on grandma's clock that do tell time. Learned it from all the times great grands was cooking for church's second service. Learn to praise God through baked mac and cheese and pray. My daddy come home from the service, but he dead and gone now. And my mama in combat mode, her body covered with infections like chocolate coated candies, sugar level 501, which is to say, she got stroke caught in between her teeth. A1C14, veins constricting, then collapsing like salivating glands when you taste that cheesecake that's too rich and saccharine. My mama so sweet, it's sickening. They had to cut cysts from out her breast like she had cavities within her chest, and I'm scared that if she don't water down the syrup in her spirit, they will amputate her limbs and ligaments, leaving her bitter to the taste. All sour in the face, where salty tears replace the stars that twinkle and burst in my mama's iris. My mom is hot cocoa when my soul grows cold from all the pain in this world. All gummy bear dimples and a heart made of pecan swirls. My mama, she got a crock pot type hug, the type that fills the house with aroma. My mama fill me up every time I'm around her. My mama is a recipe passed down through generations, and I just pray my children will have full plates before she is called to grace. Amen. Pray her eyes will not be candy wrappers shut before she ever has a chance to meet them. But my mama, she be stubborn like Jawbreaker sometimes. So I sit waiting, making pools of apologies, hoping she will forgive me enough to take care of herself, because this ain't no Candyland's child's play. And though disease is hard for anyone to swallow, this ain't no sugar pill placebo, because we know diabetes, it will not just go away and still. My mama be like, baby, everything gonna be okay. My mama with her smile made of sugarcane, as I just can't help but fear her decay. Thank you. Did you want me to do another one? I don't know.
No, we can. We'll do the second one later. We'll do the second one later. We're going to start talking now. And
cool.
This is, and you can relax. This is just a conversation among girlfriends, and it's just everybody's watching. So first off, I love that piece. That is one of my favorites from you.
Thank you.
I have to tell you that. I think my favorite one I haven't heard you do lately, but that is definitely like in my top 3.
Thank you.
So the first thing I want to ask you about, because we'll start slow. What led you into performance and doing poetry, not coming to writing, because we're going to talk about that later, actually.
I mean, my entry point was actually the same. In middle school, I used to watch Def Poetry Jam. As many people were doing during that time period.
Mm-hmm.
And I fell in love with the performative aspect of it, with the writing. Like I loved seeing, Sonny Patterson, like just so many people just like going in. And I told myself, like, I could do that. Like my little middle school self, I could do that. And I remember going into the corner of my father's apartment and writing my first little poem. And it was trash, y'all. It was trash. But everybody hyped it up like it was amazing. It was called My Ideas, and I just was like spitting out my ideas of like the world at the time from my little, 7th grade mind and viewpoint. And I come from a family of preachers, of women preachers specifically. I was a debater in high school, and I was doing a bunch of like activities or in a bunch of places where oral expression was it was paramount. It was like the thing, right? And so because I had all of those spaces where we valued expression, it was all these platforms that I had to hone my skills and to start performing the little poems I was writing. And with all of that support, it was kind of like a pathway laid out for me to be able to be where I am now, which is a full-time artist, but it definitely started from all those seeds that were planted.
That's interesting because you're the first person to say that they were in like debate clubs and things along that line. We've heard plenty of people that were actors or like in like performance schools along that line. How do you think that being in the debate club has helped you in this or?
Oh, absolutely. And I only say that because, and I don't think it's innate, but I had particular coaches around me that like, they are the reason I'm the kind of poet I am today. So Daryl Birch was my high school debate coach, and DB had this perspective where he felt like my art did not have to be separate from my argumentative or persuasive, like, debate style, right? For him, it was, you are more authentic, right? When you're writing from your own social location and you're bringing yourself into the debate round instead of writing about these theoretical or fiat-based like arguments. How do you center yourself in what you're talking about, right? And using what he would call organic intellectuals. So not just quoting, these textbooks from authors rather from like a million years ago, but rather like, this rapper or like this, all kinds of people who actually have the lived experiences that you're talking about. And so what he did was he had me write my debate speeches in verse. And so debate speeches are 8 minutes long. And so I was writing 8-minute poems, but the poems were persuasive arguments. And so it forced the other team to have to like dissect my poem and be like, okay, I'm going to answer this argument that she made in this verse of her poem. So it was a really empowering experience. And it also, for me, is the reason why I think I call myself a very heady or intellectual writer. And it's because it's like when I was being nurtured and groomed as a poet, that's the way that I was writing. Like I had to bring all of these ideas and very sort of esoteric things and make them palatable. And I think you definitely still see that in so much of my writing now.
That's true. And to all the debate coaches out there, take that note because that is actually a really good note because to go from writing 8-minute poems to 3-minute poems. So I know that before you slammed before you really got into it, I know that you were coaching I know Lamar coached the team and coaching, and I believe you and him worked together a little bit beforehand. How did what he give you meld well with what you already had, or was it a complete?
So I will say working with Uncle Lamar definitely changed. He made me a slam poet. Okay. Right. So I think before that, I was absolutely a spoken word poet. I was absolutely like a performance poet. And I was on the track for being a professional poet, but I was not a slam poet. Right. I had been in slams before. Don't get me wrong. I had won slams before, but he took it to a very different level. And I'll explain how. Because like I said, I got my footing really in the church. Like that's where my performative nature came from. So a lot of people tell me I sound like church when I perform. I grew up in the church. I'm aware. Like I sound like a church. Right. I even sing in poems. It's like very churchy. But when I remember when I first like had my first real interaction with Lamar, it was at a Slamageddon slam, which it was like wait, I don't even know. This wasn't Slamageddon. I don't know. It was like a small little slam. It was like in somebody's living room, but I don't think it was like we weren't building the team out yet. And he was a judge, and he judged me, and he gave me a 7. I have never, before that moment, had never received a 7 before. And this is not me being like bougie, blah, 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 blah. But this was like, you ever do like one of your go-to poems, like you're in your bag, and so you have expectations? It was like one of those poems. And I was like, a 7? And I felt like I was an outlier that night. So I was like, why a 7? So I chased him down. Didn't know this man from Adam. Chased him down the steps and was like, so what was that 7 about? His response was, oh no, you were absolutely the best poem of the night, but you didn't have it memorized. So unmemorized poems get 7s. I was like, the disrespect that I feel right now. And he was like, yeah, so like next time I see you, like you need to like have memorized poems, like do better. And then kind of just walked off. Gag, okay, like mouth to the ground. And because of the competitive spirit that I have, I was like, wait till I see him again. So I like memorized my poems, like my 3 go-to poems. And I guess a little bit of context, people know, but before I was memorized poem, people know I would have like stacks of paper and be throwing my paper in the air as I'm performing and like going in, but like reading from paper was a performative element for me. So it was very different. It was a busboy slam. Shout out to busboys. Lamar was in the building and I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to win and it's memorized, just watch. And I did. I won. And, you know, this is my first time like winning off of memorized poems. So my heart is racing. And he walks up to me and he's like, yeah, I'm a mentor you. Like, that was his response. Like, good job. You memorized it. You took my advice. I'm a mentor you. And it was so arrogant, but it was like, I want to be mentored. You right. And like every experience after that was literally Lamar sharpening me and shaping me as a slam poet, which is different from just being a spoken word poet, right? So like him really putting the pressure on, teaching you how to read a room, teaching you slam math, how to make sure you understand how a poem will score, right? Based on just patterns and behavior, teaching me how to present myself in a room as a like professional slam poet. It's certain places you need to make sure you're sitting in these places. When you're performing, you want to make sure you are performing to all parts of the room. You want to make sure you position yourself in a way that is going to like, you know, make the judges react. You want to make sure you're not overly dressed or underdressed. Shaping me, right, to be a slam poet and teaching me like the art of slam poetry, which before that, I don't think I had a grasp on. And now when I talk to like younger slam poets, I find myself giving all the tips that it's like, truth be told, I didn't know this either going in. It was absolutely a result of Lamar's training. And I think the same thing is true for the team. If you're going to give kudos to the slam team, it's absolutely a nod to the work that Lamar did with us.
And for those of us that are watching on Facebook and new to YouTube, we have been trying to get Lamar on this platform. We've been trying. I will try again because we do wish to speak to him because of everything that he knows, but because he's an amazing person. So my next question is, I'm glad you said that you do. So you do teach. I also know that you are a teaching artist with Do More Baltimore. I'm going to shout out, or you were, or you are, or were, where we are.
So it's interesting because I was a teaching artist. I was also a program manager with the teaching artist program, right? And I transitioned out once I started like organizing for the Black Arts District, but I am still on their roster. So like there might still be, you know, gigs that I get, but I'm not like a teaching artist proper anymore.
So were you passing along those lessons to your students that you got? And we can tell I don't even know why I'm asking. I'm asking for the world because I know the Baltimore youth team.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I actually was not a regular coach of the Baltimore youth team. I would come in when it was time to choreograph poems because that's like one of my favorite things is choreographing group pieces. So like, I'm like, oh, let me help with the movements. Let me help with the blocking. So those are the times that like Slangston would bring me in. Like, all right, Congresswoman of choreography, help us block this poem. And I would love it. So that was really like my biggest like part I mean, sometimes, of course, you have your young people that you are used to working with, so they'll come and ask you to help workshop a poem, or you might be listening, sitting in practice and help like work with specific poems. But like, shout out to Slangston, because the lion's share of the work was between Slangston and also Jacob, who was also a coach some years. But I did coach our Louder Than a Bomb teams, because we used to do it's now called the Do More Poetry Festival, but before we were a part of the Louder Than a Bomb network. And so we would groom poets to compete in that festival each year. So I definitely had my groups of teams to perform. And I just love working on performance. That's my favorite part of coaching. Like, again, the blocking, the performative element, because I think it's one thing to help students become better writers, but it's transformational when you help them become performers. And so that's the part that I love the most.
Okay, I want you to do a workshop on reading and performing, because I tell people all the time, that's like my number one piece of advice I give to everybody. Reading is fundamental. I don't care if anybody reads. That's a personal for me. Don't listen to analysis who says that all poems must be memorized. But I always tell my artists when they come to the stage, oh my God, I'm reading my poem. I'm like, learn how to read and perform. Reading is fundamental. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said, Jacob, he loves to make this joke, but like, I was a like reading like beast, like, but it was absolutely not just reading. Like, the truth is, Lamar helped me to drop that clutch, because the reason why I could perform the way I was performing off page is because the poems were 80% memorized. I just had the paper there because I was scared of the 20% that wasn't completely committed to memory. But the truth is, like, most of those poems were already mostly memorized. And so to be a great performer, you have to familiarize yourself with your poem in such a way that you're not totally relying on it. So it's less reading. And again, more, you're using it to make sure you don't leave any words out, but you're focused more on the performance.
Exactly. So I want to transition, because you were just recently on MSNBC. I seen the things where you were talking about doing the Black Art District. I know it was coming back to me real quick. The Black Arts District downtown. So for anyone who is across the world that will see this later, explain to us like a 5-year-old, what is the Black Arts District in Baltimore?
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to take a step back and just talk about what arts districts are in general in Maryland, and then move to the Black Arts District. So in the state of Maryland, I believe there are now 28 or 29. I believe the number is 29 arts districts across the state of Maryland. Arts districts are designed to create an economic thrust, right there, economic development tool for different communities that are designed to celebrate the culture, the heritage, the uniqueness of those particular communities, and using that as a way to draw in, tourism, or, getting people to come into that area and help to build and development, right? So it's really about economic development. Having said that, we organized in Baltimore to create what is the only Black arts and entertainment district in the entire state of Maryland. And it was really important for us to create that, because Baltimore is a predominantly Black city and Maryland has a large Black population. So it's kind of crazy that in this day and age, you don't have, out of 29 arts districts, you didn't have one that was celebrating the uniqueness of Black or African-American cultural productions. And so we really wanted to focus on, one, that celebration, that promotion, and that support for Black creatives. Beyond that, we really didn't want to just look at it as an economic development tool. I'm not really just thinking about how do we revitalize this area using arts and entertainment, but rather, how do we make an intentional effort to support and build and develop and grow the arts ecosystem as it relates to Black creatives in the city? So like, if artists are not better off because we exist, then we are not doing our job. So when you think about the Black Arts District, that is our work. We're trying to be the plug, the connector, the resource for Black creatives in our city, because there's already such this rich and vibrant and thriving Black cultural art scene in the city. But due to, a longstanding history of racial discrimination and all the things that create shortages or disparities within our community that also folds into the creative sector. And this is us trying to fill in that gap, trying to be an autonomous institution that is directly involved in making sure that we are not lacking in access or resources in what we need to grow and burgeon, and be the amazing artists that we already are without the resources, right? So that's really the work that we're doing.
And tell the world exactly where in Baltimore this is and why they might know that area, and how this is actually should change why this area is known. I'll say
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. So we are in West Baltimore. We are a 149-acre stretch that primarily runs along the Pennsylvania Avenue corridor, again in West Baltimore. So Pennsylvania Avenue, there are many Pennsylvania Avenues, including in DC, and they all have their own story. Baltimore's Pennsylvania Avenue is really known. It has a storied past around arts and entertainment with, particularly with Black creatives. And so we're talking about a time period in like the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. It was starting to reach its decline around the 60s, especially after the riots of 68, once King was assassinated. But this is a stretch of time where Black excellence was just on display, right? If you've ever heard about the Chitlin Circuit, which was a ring of theaters and performance venues that was amenable to Black folks at a time when we couldn't even walk through the front door, Baltimore's Pennsylvania Avenue was a stop on the Chitlin Circuit at what was known as the Royal Theater, right? And so all of the most infamous and well-known Black performers of that time were coming through and performing on Pennsylvania Avenue. Marcus Garvey had like his wedding, one of his weddings on the avenue had a location of a branch of his organization on Pennsylvania Avenue. Billie Holiday grew up as a child, right, on Pennsylvania Avenue. It just has this rich legacy connected. Well, it wasn't on Pennsylvania Avenue, but it was around Pennsylvania Avenue. Correction,
Right.
But
it's okay.
And there's just, again, and we can keep going. Thurgood Marshall, he grew up a couple doors down from Pennsylvania Avenue. So Pennsylvania Avenue really represented a stratum of Black excellence. And this goes from your menial workers all the way up to your most successful lawyers, doctors, whatever. They were all on or around Pennsylvania Avenue. It was the place to be. And so given that rich legacy, a part of the work, and this is what I was talking about in the MSNBC interview, is that that's not the Pennsylvania Avenue that I know. For all the time that I've been alive, that's not what Pennsylvania Avenue has looked like or been, but I've heard all of the stories. And so as a cultural organizer, as a community artist in Baltimore, I'm like, it's incumbent upon me and to work with other folks to recreate this excellence, because we deserve it, right? Not only do Black communities deserve it, but our Black creatives in Baltimore deserve it. And where better to do it than a place that literally was the foundation for a hub, right, for Black creative excellence in Baltimore. And so that's exactly what the Black Arts District is, and that's why it's there, because we are building on that legacy and looking to what the future of Black creative excellence looks like in our city.
And what do you hope to see there, or what as the future of this organization and as the district grows?
Well, I think one thing that I'm really excited about is we are currently trying to build a new art center on Pennsylvania Avenue. So it's literally going to be a ground up development. And the idea is that this art center, the name that we're working with right now is the Sanaa Center. For those of you who don't know, Sanaa means art in Swahili. And so it's literally the art center, but and so the idea is that it will be a Black arts incubator space. So if you are a Black artist or creative, you can come here, get training, get development, take classes, master classes from different artists, or classes about whatever it is you need, to work on. There will be co-working spaces there. There will be private offices there. Our goal is to have sort of an in-house studio space. So whether you're videography or photography, there's space that you can rent for that. And it'll also be malleable enough to actually have performance space. One of the things in Baltimore that we've heard is that there's just not enough Black-owned performance spaces that are mid-size. So if you're trying to do something between 100 and 500 people, where do you go, right? And so
there's really no place.
Yeah. So we're trying to fill that need as well and have it right on the avenue. And so that's one of our big things that we're working on, because this will probably be somewhere around a $4 or $5 million building, and we're also trying to expand another art center that's right on the same site. So it'll actually be building two buildings, one as an addition to a pre-existing building and our ground up development. So in total, it'll be about a $6 or $7 million project that we're fundraising for right now. And that's like a huge thing that we are super excited about. And we know that it will anchor, right, the district in such a way that really can start to like attract all different kinds of things and really be a space for us to build and work together as Black creators in the city. So that's one thing that is like huge. Outside of that, we really just want to build on the social fabric on Pennsylvania Avenue. So doing events and doing festivals and like partnering with Black creatives. Like, we ain't trying to reinvent the wheel. If you got a great idea, if you're doing a great event, we want to partner with you, throw some money your way and allow you to be excellent. Like, we're not trying to build from zero, because we know so much already happening.
That is true. Has the stay-at-home orders and being in quarantine, do you think it has helped or hurt the progress that you're trying to make there?
I will not say helped or hurt. It is a unique position to be in, right? But I think that we have learned some things in this space, right? So we've done two really large events having to adjust to the quarantine mandates or whatever. So the first one, we did it was called Mini Make Concert Series. This was last May. And we're like, listen, we want to support artists right now. Ain't nobody got no gigs. How can we just put some money in the pockets of artists? Like, we just want to pour some money into artists, right? And so we did this concert series. We had poets, we had rappers, we had singers, and then we had our headline artists. And we got maybe like 4,000 people to tune in over our 4 different concerts, which is huge, right? Like, and it was all online. It was all on Instagram. So it showed us like, we can tap into an audience far greater than what we would in person by doing online events. And it was amazing. And then the last thing that we just did was the Black Artist Fair, which happened just last month. And excuse me. And I guess the beginning of this month, actually, it was April 30th to May 2nd. And, you know, again, we had thousands of viewers as well. We did 36 events over 3 days. It was crazy. But the idea was literally, how can we be a resource for Black creatives? What do folks need? And then we just gave a bunch of free resources. So like consultations with lawyers or consultations with tax professionals, free photo shoots, free grant writing workshops, like all the things that people said they needed. We just, all right, we're going to put it all in one bucket and you don't have to pay for it. All you got to do is come sign up and come through. And so these were like really large events that we were able to do online. We are now gearing up to doing some in-person events. So this summer, we're going to do another concert series, but it's going to be outdoor and in-person. And so we're adjusting. I say all that to say we've learned some tricks of doing things online, and we've learned the value of that. But we've also, in doing that, made so many connections that as we launch to do things in person now, because all we've known is COVID. We like became an organization and then COVID, right?
Right.
We've made enough connections where we feel like we can do some things in person and get like a good response, like it's, you know, a good attendance. And so it's been good.
So from the workshops that you did a couple of weeks ago, are some of those resources, are there videos that if people couldn't make it that day, are they available to be seen elsewhere?
Yeah, so we did a number of them on the StreamYard platform. So if you go to our YouTube channel, which is official Black Arts District on YouTube, all of the ones that were on StreamYard are already there because StreamYard just records them to YouTube and then they just stay there. And so all of those are there. There were private ones that were on Zoom. And so we are still collating all of those videos and figuring out how we want to release them. We may put them on YouTube as well. So all 36 things are not on YouTube, but there are a great number of them that are up. We also had our keynote with Amanda Seals, which was great. And so we're going to be releasing that on YouTube as well, which you can watch in your spare time.
Okay, you said it's official Black Arts District?
Yeah, on YouTube.
Okay. On YouTube. Hey, just see, because we can do things.
Yeah, that's also
this is you are our first person that we're doing on StreamYard. We literally just moved in the past 2 weeks. So
StreamYard is great.
Yeah, it is. Everybody, so please work with us while we are making this adjustment. I had another question about the Black Arts District. And of course, I've spaced it because did I write everything down? No. So do me a favor, take a moment and give everybody your social media and where they can support you. We're going to talk about other stuff, but I want to make sure that we capture it for anybody that wants to make sure that they have
Yes.
it a
Okay.
little longer.
So I'm gonna wear two different hats in this moment. So first, executive director hat, not CEO, executive director hat. If you want to follow the Black Arts District, we are again official Black Arts District on Instagram, Facebook, and that is our YouTube channel. If you are on Twitter, it is _official BAD because Twitter a hater and they only give you that many characters. So _official BAD on Twitter, but everywhere else, official Black Arts District. And yeah, we also have a website, blackartsdistrict.org, where we are revamping it right now, but I encourage you, it's going to be re-released in next month in June. But if you are creative and you want to be shared on our platform, we have a registry of Black artists and creatives. And so if you got a product, a service, an art form, and you want more people to be able to connect with you, we are literally for free going to be featuring people on our registry, and people can put in keywords and say, I'm looking for a poet, and all the poets on our registry will pop up, or I'm looking for a band, and all the Black bands will pop up that are on our registry. And so it's a great way to get gigs and expand your reach in ways that, you know, these are not people who would already be in your network. So people call us all the time looking for people, and this is our way to be like, here are all the people we have in our network. So I encourage you, reach out, check out the website. It's going to be relaunched next month with all of our new entries for the registry. That is my executive director hat. Boom.
And pause. And I'm going to tell you, everyone, that those registries are very important. I'm just going to say that in general, because I coordinate events for myself under me. I coordinate events for Busboys and Poets. I have another set of events that I'm coordinating. And sometimes you forget how many artists and how many people are out here working because you're so used to not that it's blinders, but you got about like 10 people that you always tick off.
Yep. Yes.
So that's going to be very useful.
Yeah. And for me, it's like, instead of always, like you said, going in my bag and getting my regular people, I'm like, there are so many people that like are not my direct connects, but have amazing art form and maybe exactly what somebody is looking for. So I'd rather just, again, be the connector and just have this whole registry of people. So we're going to be, like I said, launching that very soon. So feel free to reach out to us and show us your work so that we can put you up on the registry. We're also going to have a Black Arts calendar. So it's going to be Baltimore specific, but just highlighting events that are happening in Black Baltimore. And again, free service that we just want to do because we love Black art and we want to share it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now putting on my art hat, my artist hat, I'm Lady Brion. So you can find me at Lady B, like the letter, Speaks. Lady B Speaks, that's Instagram, that's Facebook, that's Twitter. And my website is ladybrion.com.
Okay. Sorry, typing it into the chat. So the next thing I have is what I call my from behind the microphone questions. This is the chance that this is the time that we get to talk to you and these are not overly personal, just fun questions, just to get to know you as a person a little bit better. I'm also leaving a little bit of space for the rest of my team to come in a little bit and ask any questions of you as well. So I know you said that, well, you already told us this, but the first question is always tell us what brought you to writing poetry. We talked about that. So tell me the first experience of performing a poem on stage, how you felt about it, where it was.
On stage. What was my first stage performance? Like, it's funny because I have to think about it because my first like performances were all like at school. So I remember I asked my music teacher if I could do this poem that I wrote about bullies because I like I used to defend people who got bullied. Like that was my thing. Like, because I was like a little bit popular and I hated when people like picked on like people. So I would like get on the bully, like get yourself together. So I wrote a poem to the bullies, and I asked if I could do it in front of the class. So that was like one of my first memories, because that was still in middle school. And then when I got to high school, I remember my art teacher, shout out to Ernest Shaw, he's a great muralist in Baltimore. He had me perform in front of the whole class on the first day of school. He was like, "Oh, you a poet? Let me hear a poem." And then he gave me my first feature at his art gallery. But none of these places had stages, so I'm trying to think, where was it actually?
It's okay. It's all right. These all work. How did you feel about? Okay, because my point of asking this question is always, as someone that has hosted events, you've had somebody come up to you after the event, all wide-eyed, and say, "Oh my God, I could never do that." And I'm going, I wasn't always this.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's why I think this question is important. It's really for new artists to show you, like, we all started somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird to me because I come from a really loud, and again, a loud family and a family of preachers. So like, even before I was performing poetry, it would be like, "Oh, it's Youth Sunday, Brion gonna lead the service," or we're having whatever event at the church and Brion gonna host. So like, I was not afraid of what people call the limelight. Like, I wasn't. It didn't
Okay.
really. It didn't make me feel any particular kind of way. I did have to hone my performance voice. That happened over time. But like, getting on stage in front of people, I wasn't necessarily ever really nervous of that, because at a young age, I was already doing it. But I will, for the new folks, I will tell y'all, the first time I tanked a feature, I think this might have been my first feature. And it was at Peace and a Cup of Joe, Lord. And I just forgot a poem, like right in the middle of it. It was so bad. It was so bad. Like, I was trying to embrace memorizing poems, and I just forgot it. And it was so embarrassing. And I like had to swallow everything I had, not to just like run out of the venue, because that's what I wanted to do. And it was like, that was when I felt like I started to really like emerge into like professionalhood, because I had to suck it up in that moment and still like be a professional, go to the next poem, keep it moving. Like, get out your head, because you're still on stage. Everybody can see you. So like, that was probably the first time where I had one of those moments where I had to be a big girl and like get it done.
I like that story. Because that is about as real as it gets in these poetry streets. So you go by the name Lady Brion. I do know that Brion is your first name. Why have you made this choice?
That's hilarious. So before this, my name was Black Pearl. Before Lady Brion, it was Black Pearl. And before that, I was doing this like mahogany thing. My old email that all of the social media stuff still goes to is mahoganypoets@yahoo. So like, I've had a different iterations of names. Black Pearl. So mahogany didn't work because there's a poet whose name is Mahogany already, a prominent poet. So that was dead.
Yep.
Black Pearl didn't work because if you Google Black Pearl right now, there will be 1 million hits of all kind of things, from moving companies to books to movies to. I was like, dang, everybody thought of this already. And that, it meant something to me, because I was like, I'm this poet who writes about the Black experience, and Pearl's connection to my grandma. So I was like, oh, this means something personally. I had to drop it. How I got Lady Brion is actually really random. Droopy the Broke Baller, who is a poet out in DC, run and spit that, whatever. When I was curating the homecoming poetry event at Howard, I had a bunch of side events leading up to it to get people excited, and I had him host one at the place is called New Vegan now. It wasn't called that at the time. It's called Life. And I had on these really sparkly heels, and he was just like, I feel like I gotta put Lady in front of your name with these shoes. And it was like his running joke. So for the whole show, he just kept calling me Lady Brion. And then other people started calling me Lady Brion, like that was my name. And it kind of just stuck. And that was the moment that the Lady Brion name was born. It was very random, and it was Droopy.
What's funny is that there is a for Simply Sherri, which I didn't even Google. I just didn't. Actually, I think Sherry's Berries, the internet strawberry company, actually owns Simply Sherri.
Oh wow!
They owns the domain Simply Sherri. Yeah.
Oh wow! So So yeah. I mean, well, I was one of those people who just wanted to be like the only one with that name.
Right.
And so I would Google them, and every time it wouldn't work. And now I'm just like, well, Brion is my name, so I own that.
It makes it easy for when people actually call you.
Yeah.
It's like Sherri's the name my mama gave me, so
Yeah.
we're gonna work with that. Who is your favorite writer? This can be a songwriter, book author,
I'm
poet.
gonna go with Toni Morrison.
Okay, I'm here for it.
Toni Morrison, like absolute GOAT in my book. I think that, I was already in love with Toni Morrison's work, and then I took a seminar on Toni Morrison when I was doing my MFA at University of Baltimore, and it just opened my eyes even more because we read so many books, and when we were breaking down how she came up with different characters or different parts of the plot, or even the places where the stories were taking place, whatever. It was so much that went into how she creates these little worlds. And I'm like, yo, it's brilliant. And I feel like so many people probably read her work and just miss all of that. But because I was taking a class on it, my appreciation for Toni Morrison grew even more. And it kind of affirmed the way I go about writing some poems. Because it's like, I might read a whole book before I could write my poem, or like do real live research before I can write a poem. And some people be like, girl, you're doing too much. But I'm just like, no, Toni Morrison be researching for 10 years before, she write her book. So no, yes.
Research and poetry is a thing, That's why I'm glad I studied history, because it makes me study and like research things differently.
Yeah.
I'll say it that way. You can have a 1-hour conversation with anyone, living or dead. Who would it be and why?
Oh no. These are always hard for me. I don't know. I have no idea. Dang. James Baldwin.
Ooh, okay.
James Baldwin. I just feel like James Baldwin was so audacious as a writer. You feel me? And I have so many questions of like, you left and you had this whole career, but it was like outside of America. And what was that like? Right? Because you're still writing about, I feel like so many things that was like rooted in your experiences before you left. And then just being, again, so audacious to be like a writer, a speaker who was absolutely talking about the Black experience, absolutely like writing like with resistance. You created a whole like movement. It's just so many things that happened as a result of James Baldwin and James Baldwin's work that, some of it while he was alive, some of it far after, but like being that kind of timeless writer where you can still pick up, The Fire Next Time, you can still pick up like work of his and it feels relevant. Like how are you that amazing? So I would say James Baldwin. If I had a number 2, it would probably be like Amiri Baraka, just so I could talk about like the Black Arts movement and like and his role in that, being a movement builder now. So
okay. The next question is about music. Pier 6 in Baltimore is set up specifically for you. You are sitting 7th row center, this best spot in the building. 3 acts, again, living or dead. Who would you want to see perform?
Oh, this is so hard because I'm so indecisive. Why are you asking me these? Okay.
That's why I catch everybody off guard with these. The concerts have been fun though.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Who do I want to hear? Lord, I don't know. I don't know. I want to hear. I don't know who I want to hear. This is not okay. I should have answers.
Who would you like to see in concert?
I know, right? Like, it's that simple. Why can't I choose? I can't think of anybody like I can't think of anybody like past. I'm sure. No, okay, no. If I was pulling a person from like past, only because like she was just like crazy, but also an amazing songstress, Nina Simone.
Okay.
So that's like past. But then
Mhm.
like present, I probably would go with like, this is gonna sound bad because I know I'm like rah 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 Black Power, but I want to hear Sam Smith.
I'm not mad at that because when it comes to music, you can, regardless, you can tell a strong voice. He has a very strong voice.
And the writing, I'm here
Mm,
for like
mm,
such good writing too. So okay, Sam Smith, and
mhm.
then I'm trying to hear. Oh, I would love Whitney Houston. Okay,
Yes.
that's also taking it because she ain't with us no
Yeah.
more. That's yep, that's my
But
three.
that would be a good show. Y'all know in the room, y'all know that would be a good show. I would pay that ticket. I would pay for that ticket.
Yes.
Okay, so the next question is just tell us something that most people would not know about you. It could be a hobby, something along that line. Because I know you work a lot.
I do. Okay, so this is something new that I've learned about myself, y'all.
Mhm.
Because I'm such like a serious person out of nowhere. Like, where did I get that from? Ill. But like being on this slam team with a bunch of like nerds,
Mhm.
I have learned that I really love like fantasy and like Marvel and like the comic book based stuff. Like, I love it
Yes.
so much. Like, I'm not about to read comic books, but over like this COVID quarantine, I binged the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe that was on Disney Plus, like in order.
Right. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm in the middle of doing that again right now.
Like, and I love it. So like I've learned that I'm really like a fan of like fantasy and like
Mhm.
comic book based
Mhm.
genre movies. And so I feel like looking at me you would not guess that, but a fan.
Yeah, cool. Do you have another creative outlet besides poetry? Or if not, is there something you would like to learn?
Yes. Um yes. So I dabble in singing, right? But
Mhm.
I would love to like learn, like take professional singing classes and like make it more of its own thing and not just I sing a snippet of somebody's work at the beginning of my poem, but maybe like dabble into songwriting or like actually like, sing for myself.
Mhm.
And then I also would I had the privilege of helping to write a what do you call it, a new play, like a adaptation, there you go.
Mhm.
I was able to write an adaptation to Antigone,
Mhm.
and it was performed at Center Stage, and that just made me think like I would love to start to work with like plays
Mhm.
and or be in a musical. All right, so those are my
Okay, no, I like that. I like that idea.
yeah.
Have you okay? Because you said you would like to dabble in songwriting. So now I'm curious. Have you ever written one of the song snippets into any of your poems? And something that you've written and sing. That's what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
so
say.
Love Fanatic, that's a poem I used to do a bunch. That like I wrote that little
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So my last question, and then we're going to open it up. We're going to let you. Oh yeah, this is the logistics portion of the evening for everybody that hasn't been here before. I'm going to ask this last question, and we'll invite Lady Brion to do one more poem, and then we will open it up to Q&A. So if you have a question, you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can go ahead and drop it into the comments. My team will come back up, and then they will ask you whatever questions they want to ask you.
Okay.
Okay, so my last question is always this, and it is borrowed directly from inside the actor's studio. If heaven exists, what would you want to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Well done, my good and faithful servant. Like, I just feel like
Mhm,
I just wanna you did that, girl. Like
mhm.
you lived the life worth talking about in some way, shape, or form. So
I love it. So, to everyone watching, ladies and gentlemen, and non binary, I present to you again Lady Brion.
oh wait, no, Sherri, come back. What was the poem that you was saying? Because I don't know what poem I
I
wrote.
do not know the title of the poem, but whenever I talk about it, it's your Black Lives Matter love poem.
Oh, girl, I don't know the words to that. All right, never mind, never mind.
Look, okay, the other one is that's one. The other one is the dating poem.
Oh, I can do that one.
The dating app poem.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah. So the next time I see you, Black Lives Matter love poem.
Okay, I just gotta rememorize it, girl.
It's okay.
All right. So this poem is entitled Dating App. Shout out to everybody still trying to have a love life during COVID. And it's weird. So this is in response to that. To the men on OkCupid, BLK, or insert other whack dating apps that got me fucked up on a Tuesday night one. It's called a dating app. So stop being surprised when she actually wants to go out on a date. Wanting dinner does not make you a gold digger. I figure since you are clearly trying to put something in my mouth, it might as well be a meal. And ain't you using a free version? So you obviously a cheap person too. Netflix and chill does not constitute a date. You probably using someone else's account anyway. Plus, I binge better by myself, so you looking like an LG, and I'd rather watch my own TV3. Stop being creepy. There is no punchline here. Some of y'all are just mad suspect, and I guess no one has told you yet. So yeah, you're creepy, and you should work on that. 4, arrogance is not sexy. I know the world handed you privilege wrapped in masculinity, made your ego a puffer fish and your skin Teflon thick. So you hear no, and it translates into try again. So you offer me misogyny as pickup lines, take my silent distance as a starting line for a race to get my attention, loving the chase, despite the fact that I am really running away. 5, when a touch screen is the only connection we have made. Please do not pretend you are my man. My vagina is not for lease, which means it will only ever belong to me. So no, you don't get to ask if I'm talking to other dudes, especially since I barely talk to you. The good morning messages you toss into multiple inboxes like a 13-year-old paper boy is not impressive. You cannot act as if I wear your last name when you literally don't know my last name. A swipe right is not synonymous with ownership. 6, dating apps do not come with a get some booty guarantee. 7, if getting to know someone is too much to ask, delete yourself and your profile. Sidebar, 4 lines that a rapist, a kidnapper, and a random guy on a dating app will all use. A, let's get some drinks and go back to my place. B, come sit in my car. C, come here, girl, I know you want this. D, I can't wait to get you all alone. And the point here is that we are 2 complete strangers connected only by a digitized algorithmic pair and a half-filled questionnaire. So your attempts to get me alone feel the same as a predator with eyes of stone and hands that only know smash and shatter, ready to leave a survivor with only a broken will. And I have watched too much Criminal Minds and Law and Order SVU today because, like I said, I binge better by myself. So the answer to all of your unwanted invitations will always be hell no. And I know you ain't used to a woman who loves herself, but single don't mean desperate. It means I have standards. See, I be a real woman. So if you're looking for less pushback, I suggest something inflatable, because this mouth loves a hot meal, a matte lip, and talking shit. That's that poem, y'all.
That's why I put on my matte lipstick tonight.
Word.
Let me get this lipstick straight.
Yes.
All right. So Charity wants to come in. So let me add her to the stream. She will be here shortly. There we go.
Hey,
Lady Brion.
yo.
Goddamn, I fucking love that poem. Every time you hit that SVU, fucking Criminal Minds, I be dying, yo. It is
It's
so
a fact.
lit. My question, it is a fact. Yo, they have to like. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole nother interview. But my question for you: what motivates you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think if I'm talking about the Black Arts District, right, like my executive director hat, I am absolutely motivated by Black people. Like, I want us to prosper. I want us to be great. I want us to have everything we deserve. Like, our material conditions should not be the way that they are in this world, in this country. And as a result, I'm like, I can't just say stuff is messed up and not do anything to contribute to us being better. And so as a result, I'm like, yeah, my people deserve my time, my energy, my creativity, my innovation, like they deserve. And so I'm going to put that energy into bringing forth the world that I want for me and other people deserve as well. So like my motivation, like for the Black Arts District, is absolutely Black people, Black creatives, like we deserve. For my art, I don't know. I like motivation is an interesting word. It's just fulfilling. Like it makes me happy. It makes me feel purposeful in this world. It makes me it just wakes me up, like to be able to say, oh, I get to go around and like share my truth and like be on stages with amazing other artists and be in spaces that is really just fulfilling. So I don't really know if motivation is it, but it's fulfilling.
That's what's up. That was gonna be my second question, but I think you kind of answered it because I feel like when you said that you enjoy pouring into community, and I was gonna ask what keeps you full, but I'm wondering, is that the answer to that? What you just said, is that what keeps you full?
Ma'am, no, no. Because as much as it's like I'm pouring into community, that is draining. Like pouring that much of yourself is draining. And honestly, as much as I love community, love this work, I'm an introvert. So like having to be with people and in community, and it's hard. Like I gotta do something else to fill myself back up. So it's like my circle, like my very small, close-knit circle is what I think pours back into my family, pours back into me and fills me up. Like being able to go somewhere and just laugh, or like self-care. Like I love getting my little nails done and like, that kind of stuff. It seems small, but it absolutely like gets me in the state of mind, in the space where now I can go back out and do that work. Like, so yeah, it is very different what I'm pouring into and what pours into me.
Okay.
Well, shout out to the extroverts on stage, but introverts in life. I fucks with that for sure. That's me all day. Like that's me all day. I feel you.
Yes.
Thank you, Sherri, and thank
You're
you, Lady
welcome.
Brion. Outstanding.
We're going to definitely tell you that the number one secret of most artists in this world is most of us are introverts, Marie. That is, I am too. And we have a tendency to turn on when we need to be on, but when we're off, we are.
Y'all wonder when I'm doing all this binge watching, when I need to get away from humanity. I'll just cut on a series on Netflix and just be in my own little world.
All day. I will be in my house by myself for a week and I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm so fine. All right, Girl Genius wanted to be added back to the screen. She told me she did. There we go.
No, no, that was me co-signing on being the biggest extroverted introvert you will ever meet in your entire life.
It's a thing. It's a tribe.
I'm a Libra. Leave me all the way alone most of the time. I'm good.
Yes.
It's what happens.
I do have a question. I usually do the last question of the night, and I'll still do but my other question is, Charity was asking about like what motivated you. And my question is now, especially now that we're not out, but we're on the back end of being able to do stuff. Like, what is the next challenge you have for yourself? Like,
that's yes. Okay. So this is my artist hat. We're not talking about the Black Arts District. Like the Black Arts District, we got a whole bunch of stuff on the horizon, but I feel like I talked about that. But for me, a couple of things. One, I am working on a book, a co-author book with Kenneth Something and Slangston Hughes. I'm so excited about this book. It is not going to be a poetry book. Instead, it is going to be a book teaching poetry, which is very different, right? Exercising different parts of the brain. We've been teaching artists for years. We have been, coaching, whatever. And this book is really going to be giving a glimpse into the secret sauce, the paradigm in Baltimore. So, or the Baltimore Slam team, right? Well, not just Slam team. I guess this is Do More, but also Slangston's methodology. It's all wrapped up in there. So I'm super excited about working on that project. I really would like to create a new collection for myself as well. My last published work was 2018. I think it's time to like work on a new with my head unbowed, which is it's a dual collection. It was actually my MFA thesis. And so it's both an album and a book, and I want to do another.
I remember that.
Book. So I want to start working on that. And I'm super excited. outside of that, I am trying to create a new little revenue stream and see how it goes. So I love writing commission poems. It is a weird thing that I really love. And so I'm looking to break into the wedding industry and do commission poems, especially for weddings and anniversaries. So that's like a new challenge. Talking about challenges. That's like a new challenge that I'm excited about.
Two things. Wedding poem was how I started. Legit, how I started doing poems at all.
Dope.
Like I wrote a wedding poem for a family member, and that thing, you know what I'm saying? Like for real. And so I don't like commissions, but I'll do them for, you know, because, you know, it is a challenge. Too, when you guys get this book done, we've had Kenneth on the show as in a roundtable. We had Slangston on my portion. Yes, and when you guys get this book done, I would collectively invite all three of you back to do my segment for the show.
I'm here for it.
My whole segment of this show is just talking about books. Like instead of doing this interview with Sherri, you'll do this interview with me, but all we'll do is talk about the books.
I love it. Yeah. So we would love to, like I said, we're super excited to be working on it. So we'd love to come back and do that. And I'm also excited that like the world is opening back up. And so I had to skip. I started with doing a show called Queens of Poetry, and then I did subsequently Kings of Poetry, and I was hoping to do that again last year, but you know the world was closed. And so with things opening back up, I'm looking to like curate a few shows. So that's also super exciting. Oh, last thing, I know why am I talking about so many things? Because
talk about them all.
I think one thing that COVID did, like COVID, like got the creative juices flowing for everybody, because you ain't have nothing to do but think about like what would I be doing right now if not for COVID. But so we talked about the fact that I won or was a co-winner of Women of the World's Poetry Slam. That slam is essentially being handed off. Like the curator for the last 5 or 6 years is no longer interested in running it. And so I am absolutely adamant about bringing it to Baltimore.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah. And so taking over that slam for a while, or maybe for the first year, I'm not really sure the specifics of it, but I'm telling y'all now, this is not like super public, but I'm telling y'all now, we trying to get it in Baltimore. And that is like something that I'm laser focused on seeing it happen.
Listen, it's public now because we're we're on the world, but I'm here for this. I could not commit to doing it this year given everything that's happened. I was there last year, and that was a weird circumstance. But yeah, I was there last year. I would love to do this again. If we are talking about bringing it here, I am so here for this. I am so here for this.
Yes, it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be super dope.
We had the first conversation about this when it was still like rotating. I said the same thing, like that would be the tournament to bring here. So definitely talk to me when we're here. I'm here for this. That's such a boost.
Yeah, and I feel like I just feel like with the DMV is just so many poets here. This is a great place to have it. I feel like, especially because the Mid-Atlantic region, we don't really have any slams. So I feel like we're going to attract a bunch of people.
Not national slams, no.
Yeah. I feel like we would attract a bunch of people who don't typically go to the national slams, but also there's a whole bunch of like slam poets on the circuit who are in the DMV too. So just from the DMV alone.
I don't think we had a national slam anywhere in the Mid-Atlantic, at least like not right here in this portion, until we did iWhips like way back.
And that was 6, 7 years. That's been 6 years ago that we have had iWhips.
Yeah,
that was my first. Yeah, that was the first.
That was the first one we've had here, like ever.
And if for anyone listening, if you want the experience of a lifetime, go to a national slam. Be prepared to take a few days off because you will need it to rest. But go to because there's just, it's not even because you're up all night doing things. It's just so much energy and so much poetry and so many things. So yeah, when WALPs, I'm there. Yeah. All right, bringing up Kaniki. Hey, Kaneki.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, boo. Okay, at first I have a comment. My mom just texted me and she said, "Wait, I don't want to misquote her. Let me tell you. Let me tell you what she said." And she's watching. I don't want. to lie, on my mama. Let me tell you what she said. Okay, Sherri. She said that she liked your lipstick. And what did she say about Brion? Yeah, what she said. Hold on, because I want to tell you. Wait, hold on. I want to tell you.
Sherri got on that matte lip, girl.
Me and my mama be watching. Oh, she said, okay, she said, yes, Lady Brion is sexy, gone stuff. That's what she said. Okay, I got that. So I got that out. Let me give you my mom comment because this is new to her. We just got her acclimated to Zoom, and now I'm like, we're on a new platform, so she don't know how to comment or nothing. So I was like, let me let you know what she said. So my question, I got a 1-2-part question.
Okay.
And one other question. Okay. My 1-2-part question is, what are you proud of yourself for, and who are you trying to make proud?
Great question. So what am I proud of myself for? It's interesting. So I came into the National Slam circuit as a part of a team. So I had my entry point was the Slamageddon adult poetry, Baltimore's poetry team. And I found myself just falling in love with the group pieces and the family, but I was never outshining on my own. I wasn't never doing no indie poems. I wasn't really going to indie slams. It was the team for me, and it was the team or nothing. Then I got to a point where I felt like nobody knew me as an artist. And because I have I struggle with conversations around self-worth, and I have a very negative internal dialogue with myself, being transparent and vulnerable. That's just something I've always struggled with. So it was hard for me to convince myself that I would be successful if I wasn't on my team. I went somewhere by myself and started to compete, that I would be successful. So I said, we got to prove this to ourselves, girl. You got to go a year straight, and you got to go to as many individual slams and prove to yourself that you can stand on your own. And so, I did that, and I was successful. I'm now this was very recent, right? So Women of the World Poetry Slam, Exit 36 Slam. I was just going around just I can do this. And so I feel like, if anything, I make myself proud, and I prove to myself that I wasn't just good because I was an appendage of an amazing slam team, but I am independently worth all the accolades that I received with the team as well. So that was a little personal thing. As far as who am I trying to make proud? I don't know if this is weird or not, but the little Black girls that I may not ever meet or know that they're watching, but them, right? I mean, a good example is Mecca, who's my poetry daughter, poetry mentee. I feel like I have an image of her in the back of my mind. And is what I'm doing making girls like Mecca proud? Because I absolutely know I was an interruption to Mecca's trajectory, and I turned her this way. It was girl, poetry, and now look at her, right?
Right.
Is phenomenal and taking over the world, but she was not into poetry when she met me.
Really? I would have never known that.
Yeah, she was I want to be on the choir, and I'm doing monologues with the theater club, and I'm everything but poetry. And then she saw this real loud, crazy dress, Afrocentric woman at her high school, and one of her friends was in a club, and she was jealous, and she was like, I'm joining this club because why do you think you get to be in clubs without me? And it totally just changed her trajectory.
Wow.
So I feel in that way, for whatever other young Black girl is watching, I hope that the work I do, the impact that I make in the world, will make them proud, and hopefully give them a path too.
I love it. Okay, here's my other question, because everybody wants to know, but nobody want to ask. Are you dating somebody, child? Go on, let the bag out. You got a boo? Who are you booed up with? That's what we want to know.
Girl, I'm single as a Pringle and a dollar bill, honey. No, ma'am. So yeah, this whole dating thing is hard. It is we are in an age, I'm a millennial, and I feel millennials don't date. They don't believe in it. like my poem said, they Netflix
Yeah.
and chill or hookups or whatever, but they're not like dating, courting for the intention of a long-term situation.
Wow.
And as a result, I'm out here being single. If we not out here dating, then I'm out here single.
Being single, right?
So it's not that I'm not interested, but like I feel like the older I get, like I'm 30 now, so it's like the older I get, the less tolerable I have for stupidity.
That's normal. That's normal.
So yeah.
Yes. Okay. All right. That's all I wanted to know. I'm gonna give you back to your host.
Charity, Brion, I understand exactly what you're talking about. We've talked about this before. No matter how many times Charity doesn't believe me, both of my daughters are roughly your age.
Oh wow.
And actually, my oldest is 30 and my youngest is 29. And so, from a different type of mother mindset, take all the time you need. Enjoy your single life. Because
like I'm not tripping. My family, like I don't feel crazy about like being 30 and single because like so many, like I don't want kids, but so many women in my family, they did have kids like later, like the ones who are near like my age or generation, like they had kids later. So many of us are like not even married yet. Like so I'm like, we all in this same mindset. So I don't feel like an outlier. Like, nah, all my cousins like this.
I'm just gonna say with one of my daughters, her father is wondering when he's going to be a grandfather. Her mother is like, yeah, whenever, I'm good.
Yeah.
All right, bringing Charity back for a moment.
Sherri is a liar. Sherri is a baby back bitch liar. She does not. Those kids, I haven't seen them. I don't know what she's talking about. Anyways, Lady Brion.
What?
She be lying. I need to see. She lying, yo. Sherri is lying. Even though I think I was at her fake 50th birthday party. I ain't seen no ID. I don't know if it was true or not. I think she
Hold
lied.
on one second. You met my children, Kaniki.
I don't care. They look young. They don't look old. They look young. I don't care. And I ain't seen no driver's license. I need a birth certificate.
This is funny.
I get this every week. All
Sherri
right.
showed me a fake ID. She's a liar. She's a liar. She's a great poet, a great human, a great sister, but she's a liar because those kids, I don't think they're hers, and they don't. But anyway, Lady Brion, I think I asked it in blah 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 blah. I don't remember. Anyways, I just want to make a comment / question / proposal. When y'all do the national slam, if y'all bring it to Baltimore, Women's World, whatever, blah blah blah. Yo, let me know how Bus Boys can be a part of that because we can definitely like try to sponsor or do whatever it is, provide whatever support y'all need. Because I think that would be a great move, not just for like the Baltimore club and then the community, but also with Busboys being a staple now in the Baltimore scene. I think that would be just a great move. That's all I was gonna say. And also, Sherri, Simply Sherri, is a baby back liar. All right, bye.
You see how my team treats me? I swear.
Wow.
I have my children are 29 and 30. If I was gonna lie about anything, why would it be that?
It's a very random lie.
It is a random lie.
I love it. I love it. I feel the love in the group.
Yes. I want to let you know that Maureen Mays, who is in our chat on Facebook, hi Maureen, really wanted you to know that she loves the poem To Superwomen.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes. And I also mentioned, if you didn't see it in the comments, the lipstick is Trust Issues by Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's one of my favorite colors.
I really be wondering, how do they come up with the names of these lipsticks? Like, who is in the back? Like, you know what? This is giving me trust issues. Like,
right?
Who?
I want to know. You good point. Who did that? Who is doing that? All right, I am going to bring Girl Genius back for our traditional last question.
Okay.
I cannot. I cannot.
Are you muted? I can't hear you.
No. You can hear me? Can you hear me? What's
Brion,
happening?
testing. Can you hear me, Brion?
Is it me?
Hello?
It might be you because
Can y'all hear me?
Yes. But you can't hear
No, I
us.
can't hear y'all. So weird.
No.
Uh-oh, tech issues right here at the last minute. That's weird.
No!
Testing, can you hear us now?
No! What the heck?
Right? I got nothing. I got nothing on this one. The tech
Maybe if
issue-
you want to take me out and put me back in, Sherri, maybe
Yeah,
that'll
let me
make
do
my
that.
sound come back.
Okay, so this, for those that are new here, you know, the internet and technology, it happens. All right, can you hear us now, Brion?
Oh no!
Oh
I
no!
can't hear anything. Can we
That is so weird.
I mean, I know it's the last question. Can we like just type it in the chat and then I can just answer
That's what I'm going to do.
I don't know what's going on.
Got you.
The last question is always, go ahead, girl Jean, you should go ahead and type it in. Okay, wait a second. Okay.
I got you. I'm going to type this in.
All right, because Analysis is typing in one about church backgrounds. So.
No.
Yeah.
No.
This is just weird, but tech issues, it's the internet. We're okay. All right, so the last question is now in the chat for Lady Brion.
Tell me you can see the chat. Stop talking, Analysis. Stop asking the questions.
Did you put the question in the chat? Okay, because I don't see a question in the chat. Okay. Oh, is it now that you've been on the show? Who do you think we should have next? Is that the question? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the question.
That's a good question. Is it just like local? Or okay, anywhere?
Where?
Oh, these. You know someone who's really entertaining and I love dearly? Akeem Rollins. Akeem, can you hear me? Okay, so Akeem, I love talking to Akeem, seeing how Akeem's brain works, and Akeem is an amazing performer, amazing human, amazing slam artist, spoken word artist, like all the things, and also very active in like the circuit, like the slam circuit as well. So I think Akeem would be really interesting as a guest. So yeah, Akeem.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel so bad because I can't like, hear anything, but
Well,
okay.
this is the time that
I can hear you now.
Yes.
Yay!
No, it's gone again. Sorry.
Oof.
I heard it for like 5 seconds.
It happens. It happens. So I'm going to read this from Analysis, and then this will officially be our last question. Analysis is our official, you know, what do we call him? Our silent male member that to this woman-led group. I hope to give this the proper inflection. Otherwise, I'll hear about it later. He says, you and I both come very much from church backgrounds. I was national denomination staff before I got into poetry. And now at this point, at a point in my poetic career where I want to really tap into faith settings regarding performance poetry plus justice organizing. Have you found yourself able to tap into faith settings for gigs, teaching, utilizing art for projects and organizing? Corollary question, do such settings have value regarding compensation? Brion?
Were you asking me a question?
Yeah, that was
I can't hear you anymore.
Oh, okay, we tried.
I thought you were like doing closing remarks or something.
No worries.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. Everyone, we would like to thank you at this point for coming out and joining us tonight. We really appreciate you. Please follow Lady Brion on all social channels at Lady B Speaks. The website is ladybrion.com. We will be back next week with Kaniki hosting. Kaniki, you want to come in and tell everyone who your awesome and amazing feature is? She's not
Yes,
there.
I want to do it. I want to do it. As
Go
soon
ahead.
as I figure out how to do it. I'm gonna figure.
I'm gonna add her back to the stream.
Add me. Add me.
I got you.
Okay. All
Turn
right.
your camera
I don't have
on.
myself. I turn my camera on. Okay. Yes.
Oh, I can hear Kaniki now.
Yes, because I am the voice of let my people go. That's why you can hear me. My grandmother told me that with my Easter speech. She was like, baby, you are the voice of let my people go. Okay. They can hear you all. They ain't got to see you. You got the voice. Because I was real short. You know, the people couldn't see me when I was on there. She was like, baby, you the voice of let my people go. So that's why you can hear me. Okay, because the ancestors brought it back for us. So let me let you know.
Shout out
Next
to the
week,
ancestors.
for Poets and Platforms, I will be interviewing our special guest, Sekou Andrews. If you don't know Sekou Andrews, I'm just going to say, he is the poet that turned poetry into a 7-figure salary. If you don't know this man, you want to know something about some poetry and how he does his thing, he be dropping some good jewels. I featured him for Bus Boys and Poets, and he's going to come. He has agreed to come on here with us next week to tell us some things. So have your questions ready and be ready for Sekou Andrews.
I cannot wait. So everyone, we are here. Yes, we are here every Sunday from 7 to roughly 8:30, 9 o'clock. We have a different artist, a different focus each week. If you have never attended, you know somebody you think would enjoy this, but really want to get a snippet of everything. Every couple of months, we are able to do what we call a 5th-week group roundtable interview, where one artist is interviewed by everybody. This month, as we jokingly discussed, we have a token male member because we are woman-led, but we do have a man in the shadows, and his name is Analysis. So he will be with us in 2 weeks for our artist roundtable interview. Thank you, everyone. Also, let me say this. Several of us, actually all of us pretty much, have a connection with Busboys and Poets in the Washington, D.C. area. And starting May 23rd, we are back. We are back hosting shows in person in the venues to much excitement and fanfare. So please follow us on our social media and keep the mic on. Follow Busboys and Poets because we are coming out. Everyone, please have a safe week, and we will see you next Sunday. Bye.
Yeah. Woo, woo, woo.